Nay, it's so good to have you back on the show.
It's so good to see you again, Maria. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today.
I always love chatting with you. You are just so inspiring in so many different ways. And I've had the privilege of actually basking in the glow of your personal presence, not just on social media. And I can attest to the fact that it's as pure in person as it is online. So
I love you so
that's just
much.
not something that I can say about everybody. But today, I really wanted, aside from all of your accomplishments as a bodybuilder, as I'm going to say age positive, person in the media. I mean, you're everywhere these days, Renee. I see you all over. And you're going to be in your first pageant. I mean,
Yes, I
where do
know.
you
I
get this
can't.
energy? Let's just kind of start there.
I don't know. One thing my mother said whenever I was growing up, I heard her say, I make my energy. I still remember my mother saying that. And I feel like that's what I do. I just make my energy. Energy begets energy. And I hang around with awesome people like you. Y'all give me energy. I mean, there's just, and it's the power of yes. It's all about saying yes, really, Maria. When I think back on things, that has something to do, that's energizing whenever you've got something new to tackle. So there's so many things, but life is good and I'm making the most of every day.
Have you always been this person that said yes to things?
um well, I've always thought about things I wanted to do, but I didn't always say yes, so I haven't always been that person. But as time has gone by and time is going by, it makes me realize more how important it is to not just say no to everything, and stay in a comfort zone, because yet when you say yes to things, things really start happening. Those are, you're saying yes to things you may be afraid of or you've never had a chance to do, and it just it's energizing. It really is. So
It's so inspiring to me because I think that we've grown up with this idea that you get to a certain place in life and you start to slow down. And I'm doing air quotes here for people who aren't watching. Air quotes, slow down. Really, you are the opposite. When did you hit that point where you did start to say yes more because of the perspective that you have?
hmm well, the first big time I remember of saying yes was when I finally said yes to doing my first bodybuilding competition. That really was pivotal to me because I had been working out for years, lifting weights, and I was saying no to the competition, even though my trainer was encouraging me. And once I said yes to that, things really changed after that. I mean, I just, we have a whole nother talk show about that.
I was going
But
to
yeah,
say,
that's
I'm
what
going to
started.
put in the show notes the interview that we first did where we really dove into that, which was so inspiring.
Okay.
But can you just share, Renee, how young were you when you did say yes to your first bodybuilding competition? So people who are not familiar know.
Yes, I was 69 years young when I said yes to my first bodybuilding show. And that was after many years of saying no. I started lifting weights at 60 after a lower lumbar fusion. And within a year or two is whenever I was being encouraged to compete by my trainer. But I kept saying no because wanted to stay in my little comfort zone, go to the gym, do my little weights and this and that. And then that was it.
Well, let's be
But
honest,
things,
stepping on a bodybuilding stage is not for the weak at heart. I mean,
it's not
I don't
easy.
care how young you are. It's not
Yes.
easy. And to do that after major back surgery at 69 and really just having spent I mean, a handful of years, not your whole life lifting weights. This was a tremendous thing to say yes to, and it's really snowballed into so many things. I know you've walked fashion runways, you've traveled internationally and walked the stage at the Arnold competition. You are in bikinis modeling for, for Angel in the Angel competition bikinis. I mean, it doesn't end. But today, I really want to dive into travel because as we unpack what brings us joy in this season of life, let's just call it the second act, I am finding, and I know you feel this way, that travel is an incredible opportunity to get past your four corners, of your own existence and really see the world. Talk about saying yes. When did you decide to take your first solo trip? Meaning you weren't traveling with anybody, you were going on your own to explore
Hmm.
a foreign place.
Well, years ago, I did a couple of little trips. Like I went to Club Med once whenever my son was little, and then I did one other trip. But those were long ago, and then I didn't do it anymore for years. But really, um, when it all started really happening was a few years ago when I got invited to one of my girlfriends from the Angel Competition Bikini World to attend her 50th birthday party in Qatar. She lives in Qatar. And she was just adorable. This is part of the joy of all these groups that I'm involved in. And thought, well, that's so far away, and this was months ahead. And I said, yes, I'm going to your birthday party, Julia. And that that got the wheels turning because I knew if I'm going to go all the way over there, well, I've got to go to some other places first. And that's what happened. That's really was the beginning of just getting energized about this solo travel. And so many things happened. It was like a 27-day adventure through 6 countries. And I mean, I've got goosebumps right now talking about it because I could go on forever about that. I went to so many different countries. I met friends that were my friends on Instagram in Italy. They showed me around in different
That's when
countries.
social
I ended up
media
staying.
works well, right?
Yes. Uh-huh. And you don't have to be so afraid. You get to know these people. And in Dubai, I ended up staying with a girlfriend from Instagram, who was lovely, and her family just treated me like a queen. And then I made my way. Oh, I did a 10-day cruise during that process through around Greece, and then ended up in Qatar. So anyway, it was just magical. It really was, and it inspired me. And I did the same thing this past year in Thailand. I went to Thailand because I got invited to a wedding of another bodybuilder angel girlfriend and her man, and that was also magical. And I went through several countries to get there, and I mean, it's like I just can't believe it. It's just so cool, and it's empowering. It is. You just don't know what's going to happen, and I could go on, but yes, it's spectacular, and just one thing leads to another. So it's really nothing to be afraid of. But be smart, be cautious, and plan.
What were your biggest fears, Renee, of taking that first step? Because, I mean, obviously, to go to Qatar is literally around the world. That's not a small step to take, in terms of traveling. But what were the fears that ran through your mind before you decided to say yes?
Well, of course, the big fear we all have is being afraid of danger. Something could happen to me. Someone could hurt me or kidnap me, any of that stuff. So that was, of course, some fear. Um, and the fear of being alone and being lonely. And part of that fear is, well, I don't have anyone else with me to accompany me to make sure I'm okay. So those are typical fears that people have.
And were you afraid of just not being able to speak the language or a fear of not, a lot of people fear not being able to communicate with others and
Hmm.
express what they need, especially in a country that, English is not the first language. Did you
Yeah.
experience much of that?
Um, I actually didn't let that bother me much. I mean, I'm half Italian. I should know a lot of Italian, but I don't.
Mm,
And so part of my journey starting in Italy, I didn't worry about it for some reason. I mean, I had my, Google Translate, and
yeah,
I had been to
we have
Italy
tools.
before. Yeah, there's all kind of ways you can talk. So that didn't bother me. I mean, there was one country, I can't remember which one, They didn't speak much English. That was on the second trip when I was going, I think in Singapore or somewhere, and at an airport because I needed to. I'm digressing, but I got to this airport and I had about an 8 hour layover to get from one place to another. And when I got there, I realized I was not at the airport where I was going to be departing in 8 hours. And this is part of solo travel, of booking your own stuff, and these people in Singapore didn't speak much English in the airport. So that's something I remember. I mean, I've done a couple of crazy things. I've actually been to the wrong airport recently. When I went to London, I was going to go to Tenerife, to the Canary Islands, and I went to the wrong airport, and I had to quickly get an Uber to the correct airport. So
Did you go
this
to
kind of stuff
Heathrow
does
when you
happen.
should have gone to Gatwick?
Actually, no, it was these small airports because Big Heathrow, I did Big Heathrow, but going from London to Tenerife in the Canary Islands, they have small airports and small airplanes.
Hmm.
So there was one sounded like the other. And when I booked it, I thought, oh, that sounds right. And I book it. And then I get to that airport very early and I'm checking in and the lady says, no, you're at the wrong airport. So I had to
Well, good.
quickly,
That's a good
scramble.
reason for checking in early.
That's right. Oh, definitely. But the one where I couldn't speak the language very well, that was in Singapore. And I was really nervous because I found out I wasn't at the airport where they were going to pick me up to go to my next place. And it worked out, they were very kind. And I was nervous. And as it turned out, in Singapore, I had a long layover and they had a shuttle to go from this airport I arrived in to this other airport I was going to need to go to, and it was a free shuttle, and instead of getting freaked out about it, which I was a little bit, I said, well, this is my adventure. I get a free tour through Singapore for an hour,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. That's how I looked at, you've got to think positive because golly, I'm getting to travel the world here, seeing places that people don't get to see,
Yes.
and I'm not going to let those little scary things that do happen get the best of me. And so it's really been so exciting. So, I mean, I'm just excited all over again thinking about it.
Love it. That actually leads me, what you just said, to my next question is, what did you learn about yourself in this really pretty monumental world travel? Especially, I mean, I feel like every time I look at your Instagram, you're somewhere new. We haven't even made it through half of the year, and how many countries have you been in already? I mean, you're all over the place.
Don't know, a bunch, a bunch.
Just lost
Not,
track.
I don't know, a bunch. Yeah.
But what's it made you learn about yourself, and what do you think other women in the second half of their lives can experience? What would be the best possible thing that they could experience just by the power of saying yes?
Um, there's so much, but I would say you get to do this on your own terms. You get to do exactly what you want to do every day, the way you want to do it. You are not bound by some rigorous schedule that someone else has dictated to you, with certain times to be certain places. That is one cool thing. And I would just say, you're not going to miss out because of your fears. I mean, women, we are missing out every day because of our fears, and you just got to stop it, and turn it around. We all get scared, and do it scared. It's kind of like in bodybuilding,
Yeah.
getting on that stage. We're doing it scared. We're scared, but we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And be prepared. That's the other thing. Be as prepared as you can. And I really haven't felt scared like a fear of my life anywhere in all these travels that I've done. I really haven't.
That's
And I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I feel like I have been careful and cautious, and it's so empowering, Maria. I mean, you've done it too. It feels so good. I mean, one of your questions here was, what do you think, how it's empowering? It's at a time whenever we might feel helpless or powerless as we age. We feel invisible. Well, you can just, all that stuff, I'm a badass, man. That's how I can feel. I'm a badass. I did this on my own. And there's more places I'm going to go. And I don't have to wait for someone else to go, wait for someone else's schedule to free up so I can travel. I guess that is the best and the coolest thing about it is that I'm not waiting on anyone. And if people want to come along, well, as long as they can keep up with me, they might be
That's going to
invited.
be the
I don't.
problem, Renee, is finding people to keep up with you. I think that it allows you not only flexibility, but I think it allows you the opportunity to engage more with people in country because when you see somebody alone, I think, and this is just my perception, I'd love your thoughts about this. You're more willing to engage with them. You know, you see them alone at dinner or you see them, at a function, two people might, if they're together, they're talking to each other. But somebody that's solo is going to be more open to talking to locals. Have you ever just sat down at a restaurant and had a conversation with a complete stranger or on a flight or wherever, just in transit, that had you go, wow, that's amazing. I would never have had that conversation had I been with someone else.
Yeah, it's happened different times. It has, and one time I really remember. It's really insignificant, but when I was at the airport going from Dubai to Qatar a couple of years ago, when I did my first trip there, I remember I got some food and I had my tray and I was looking in the dining area to find a place to sit. I mean, I had some whatever food they served there that I could get that I could eat because I'm so picky. And so I'm holding my tray, and this young woman, probably 20 years old, dressed in the hijab or whatever you call it,
Yeah. Okay.
she
Yeah.
said, "Come and sit with us."
Yeah.
She invited me and her two other young friends. I think they were her brothers and sisters. So there was one spot left at a table for four, and they invited me to sit there. And it was the sweetest thing. I mean, that was so generous and respectful, and we had a quick conversation while that was, and we talked, and of course we're Instagram friends now, and it was just beautiful.
Love that.
I mean, that's one interaction I remember so well. It was amazing to that people are so open. Now, another thing, when I travel, I'm jumping around here. I have met so many wonderful people on airplanes, and these flight attendants that are in these foreign countries. I have one woman looks like you. She was on a British Airways flight, and she's adorable. And I told her your twin, lives in the U.S. and she was adorable. Another one from the Qatar Airways. I mean, just beautiful people. They are so open to meeting. Now, I'm an open person. I feel like that has something to do with it too. I don't, I'm not closed. Okay. So I smile. It's free to smile, and so I feel like that helps too, is being open whenever you do go out solo.
I love that. I love that. And your bodybuilding community, it sounds like, has really opened the door for so many opportunities, as well as just your social media presence. I mean, being able to meet people in country and having never met them in person, have them be so hospitable. Is there a country that you have been to that you would recommend to a friend who had never traveled on her own? Where would you say would be a great place to go?
Um, wow. Well, Italy probably, because everybody's so open there. At least I have had that experience. I mean, that just comes to mind when you're asking me what country. I mean, I will go back to Italy repeatedly. I look for excuses to go to Italy.
Me too.
But there's something about Italy. I mean, I just got back from Spain and it was fantastic. Everybody was wonderful. There's something about Italy. There's all kind of quaint places you can go. People are lovely there. I'm not sure what your experience is, but I would say Italy. Where in Italy? Well, there's so many places in Italy. There's so many small little villages, but that would be my first thought, Italy. And if people are afraid to go that far away, well, go on a cruise. That's another super easy way as a solo person, is to find a cruise that's going to a few places maybe you haven't been before. Fly to the port, spend a night ahead of time, and go on a cruise. And that is so easy. I'm a big cruiser. Last year I did 8 cruises, and I haven't hit the point this year of doing that many because I'm doing other things. But so a cruise is another way to do it, and or just for people who are too scared just take a weekend trip somewhere. You know, if you can't, if out of the country is too big, and it might be too big, you know, start with a long weekend somewhere that Southwest Airlines can fly you to, or just you can drive to
Yeah,
in a couple of hours. And that's what I would just say. Just don't totally block that out, because there is so much you can learn. There's so much you can enrich in your heart just from being solo whenever you travel.
definitely. I just did a retreat not that far from my house, actually. This past weekend, it was a yoga and wellness retreat, and it was just a 2 hour drive away, but I went by myself and I met so many lovely women. And sometimes just doing a retreat, that you don't even have to get on a plane for, or, maybe you just take a short flight domestically. Solo travel doesn't have to be international. It just means you're going outside of your own four walls to meet people on your own and not necessarily knowing who's on the other side.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
Have you ever gone to another country and been a little bit like, well, I don't know what the food's going to be like, and then had the food and was like, wow, this is just amazing? What was that meal? What did you have?
Gee, I know, and you're a foodie, so I should have a good answer for this.
I mean, let's face it,
But
Italy, of course the food's going to be amazing.
yeah, it's fantastic. It is. I'm trying to remember. There were some places in Thailand. I like spicy food, and you don't know exactly what you're going to get in some of these countries. But I can't think of a specific place. But in general, and I'm a pescatarian, so I'm looking for seafood wherever I go. And there was tons of good food there. I don't have a specific thing that I could say this meal was the best or whatever. But there's just so many different types of foods, and I felt like Thailand was kind of a magical place, and the food was delicious.
Thai is one of my favorites.
It is.
I would say it's probably in the top five of my favorites. Definitely amazing, and so many different wonderful types of Thai food depending on what part of the country you're in. I bet you had some good curry.
I did. It
Uh,
was so good. So many good things.
so good. And I would say that's probably, of course, one of the benefits of traveling is to be able to try authentic food in country, because if you have Thai food here, you will find it's quite different in Thailand. There are a lot of native ingredients that are hard to find here. So you're finding a cuisine that's true to its roots with ingredients that are true to its roots, in country. And I think that's always really exciting. I was just in Portugal and just became absolutely enamored by Portuguese food. Didn't really have as much exposure to Portuguese food prior to that, but I was just delighted with all of the seafood, and man, you would love the seafood.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have been to Portugal,
You
and I
have.
did love it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I have it. Sorry, I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
But I would go back to Portugal, and because it was lovely and so many different things going on. And I do remember great food there too. And getting it's another thing, you got to try new stuff,
Yeah.
and they had lots of yummy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really important to venture out and try new things. I tried tongue for the first time in Italy like 20 years ago, and I was just blown away by how good it was. And oops,
Uh-oh.
did I lose you? Are you there?
I'm having a problem with the Wi-Fi. Let's see what I can do here. Come on. Uh-oh. Something's happened again. Yeah, my Wi-Fi went down, so I'm going to have to go on cellular. Here, but it's not working. It says I'm in studio.
I don't see you yet, comma. You'll see me next to you like before.
Okay. Okay, let's try it again. I'm trying Wi-Fi again. It's showing internal error.
Yay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, good.
Hopefully we can keep Wi-Fi for a few
Okay,
minutes.
good.
Okay.
We'll wrap it
Okay.
up pretty quick here.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
okay, we'll just pick up where we left off.
Okay,
So,
cool.
what do you think are must-pack things that you always have with you on your trips to keep you comfortable and safe?
Um, well, I love to have my coffee and my little heating element. That coffee and that heating element, I take that all around the world with me. It's a little heating element to put in my mug, and it heats water for me to have coffee. So I love to have in my coffee. So that would be kind of a convenience thing that comes to
So
mind
you're
as
so
far
you're
as that goes.
making your coffee. Is it a special kind of coffee?
It's just my instant coffee, and I have a little package. I have my sweetener, my creamer, my little instant coffee, and I have a little mug, and I have this little heating element that I plug in, and it heats my water, so I have my
You could
coffee
be anywhere
wherever
and
I
have your
am.
coffee.
Exactly. And I don't like to have to go downstairs, put on my makeup and dress just to go get my first cup of coffee. So if I have that with me at all times, then it's handy, and that's what really important to me.
Yeah,
So it's
creature
a silly.
comforts, you know?
It is totally that creature comforts. That comes to mind, as far as other things that makes me feel safe. I don't know. Making sure that my phone, I have plenty of chargers. I like to make sure I have plenty, not just one, maybe three, with all everything that goes with it, because that's important, being able to communicate and not to lose touch. So I would say the phone is really an important part of staying connected.
And like a
It
battery
really is.
pack or something, like an extra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
A couple of battery packs,
I
yes.
had a situation. I went to St. Martin for work. I was doing some chef work for their annual festival, and I didn't look to see what kind of chargers they use there. And I really got stuck. I got stuck without power because I didn't bring the right charger to fit into the outlets there. So I can't
Where was
recommend
this?
that
What kind?
enough. You need to make sure and see what
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
outlets they use.
Yeah, like, well, you just need one of these things right here. This is the everything converter for every country.
Yes,
And
they
I
that did not
Okay.
exist. That's a
Well,
relatively
see,
new thing. I
it,
They
it's
didn't
got all
exist
these
when I
things.
was there.
I've got a couple of these. So yeah, so this is what you want. This has everything. It changes to all the different countries. I keep it here. I use it in Houston. I mean, it's like, this is what I'm charging right now to keep you alive while I'm talking. But
Yeah,
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 so
that's
one of
such a
these
smart
things,
thing, and it's nice because you can
it is
plug in
great.
like multiple USB devices into it, or
Hmm. Right.
whatever other plugs that you need to have. I love that
Hmm.
little cube.
Absolutely.
We'll post a
So,
link to that in the show notes because I think people need one of those
okay.
for sure.
Yeah, they do.
What
They
about
do.
what about
Absolutely.
comfort? I mean, I I don't think of myself as a high maintenance person, but when I'm traveling, I first of all, like sleep is so important to me, so I always
Hmm.
bring a neck pillow. I've always got a blindfold.
Hmm.
I gotta have all my supplement. Packing my supplements takes the longest. I can pack everything into a duffel bag, but it takes me 2 hours to pack all my supplements up. Are you, do you do this?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, when I travel, I bring everything, and I bring a lot of packages of my salmon and tuna. These little foil pack, those pouches. I take those with me. They're as much as I have my coffee. I have those, but supplements too,
Mm.
and it's all important to so you can continue maintain your health while you're gone. So that's important. I always take extra antibiotics and things like that, just in case somebody gets sick, if I get sick. And that's probably important too, to try to stay well. And I'm very picky about, like in Thailand, I didn't drink any of their water. Even brushing your teeth, you don't use that tap water, because everybody got Bali belly but me,
Mm.
because I was very meticulous about it. So, but it's part of all that. So, yeah, the supplements are important. And, I would just say, I don't even bring one of those neck pillows. Not that it's not a good idea, but I do. I like to have the most comfortable things when I'm on the airplane. I don't like to look trashy, and I'm not a big fan of wearing all the athleisure on the airplane. But I usually wear. I have these great baggy jeans that have a lot of pockets in them, and I wear it all the time. And then I'll bring a change. Maybe if it's a sleeping flight, I'm going to bring some leggings that I can switch into, workout leggings that are comfortable, so I can sleep in those and then
You
change.
always dress to the nines, Renee. I can't
Well, I
imagine
do
you
the
in
best I
baggy
can.
sweats.
Yeah, so I'm not a baggy sweat kind of guy. I don't like any of these pullovers over your head. I don't like those. I'll bring a scarf, and I'm going to be warm, but yeah, I try to be travel light. And I've done it so much. You figure out where to put everything, and I don't get any fancy schmancy stuff that I'm worried about losing. That's the other thing. No fancy jewelry, or you don't want to call attention to yourself. I guess
I
that's a
think
big
that's an
thing
important
as a
safety
solo traveler.
precaution is
Hmm.
travel is not
Hmm.
when you want to bling out with the real stuff. I mean, wear your costume
That's
jewelry,
right.
knock yourself out, but I always
Hmm.
leave like expensive, my wedding ring, my engagement ring and stuff. I never travel with it.
I think that's just smart to do it there. And you don't want to call attention to the fact that you're alone. When you're in a hotel room or anywhere, you don't have to make it obvious. I mean, there's lots of ways that I try to do that too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you like to stay in hotels or do you prefer Airbnbs or do you have a preference?
Well, when you're all by yourself, I feel like a hotel is safer, because Airbnbs, the access may be compromised. You don't know the environment.
Mm.
I mean, I love the convenience of Airbnbs because they have more, but if it's a hotel environment, or if an Airbnb has some kind of a concierge area, lobby where people can go in, then that would be okay. But in general, and I do stay at Airbnbs, but when I'm traveling, I'm probably looking for a safe hotel, nothing fancy necessarily, but where I can feel that there's some safety factors in
That's a
place.
good point. That's a good point. And, there's safety in numbers usually. So if you're not kind of set off
Yeah,
by yourself,
yeah.
are
Now
you a window seat or an aisle kind of gal? I know you're not in the
I'm
middle.
an I'm an aisle seat girl. I've got these long legs, 5 foot tall. I need my aisle seat. No, actually,
Is
I get
that so
up a
you can
lot.
just jump out and run to the bathroom when you need to?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I'm still trying to hydrate when I'm on a flight. That means I'm going to go pee a lot. And so definitely I want an aisle seat. And I'll pay extra for it if I can, if I need to. But yeah, I'm an aisle seat
Yeah.
person for sure.
Yeah. I have a question. So, how do you stay present when you travel? I feel like oftentimes we're on our phones. I mean, both of us are, on social media for our businesses and stuff. Like, how do you stay present and not just get inundated by, oh, I should get a video of that, or oh, that's a perfect photo for my Instagram. Like, how do you stay present?
And that's a really good question. And it's true. There's so many, temptations there to video everything. And I do tons of video, and I put very little of it actually on social media.
I'm the
But I
same.
do.
I'm like, I have thousands of photos that will never
Oh my
see the
God.
light of day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. I mean, I have about 80,000 photos,
Yeah.
over time, but And I'm terrible about deleting. But actually, and so what happens is, I mean, I'll do a little. I try to do some quick stories or whatever. That's an easy way to do it when you're gone. But I remind myself, hey, this is my trip. You know, I mean, I love all my people, you know, on my social media
Yeah.
because they are wonderful. But I'm doing this for me, and I have to be a little selfish, you know, because that's part of how uh, you get yourself, re-energized, and all that is to take in everything and to soak it in and be grateful. You know, you got to remember gratitude. I guess that's part of it. But so I do try to remember that this is my trip. It's not. I'm not doing this for other people. I'm doing it for me. Now I am. I'm doing it also. I mean, in the process of doing this by myself, it is something that I know if I share, it's going to help other people.
Mm.
And so it's something that I want to do. I do want to share,
Yeah.
but I have to remember to put myself first again. It's all about loving yourself, right? And self care and self love. And so you have to take care of you first. And then, you know, once you put that air thing on, then you can take care of the people next door. So,
Yeah, yeah, I love that analogy. Put the
mhm.
that oxygen mask on yourself
Yeah, the
before you put
oxygen
it on other
mask.
people. So what's next,
Right.
Renee? What's next? What you got going? What you got cooking?
Well, okay, so many things, but the most immediate thing is that, like you mentioned, I am going to be in a pageant. It's the Classic Universe pageant and
Woo!
I'll be representing Texas.
Look at
And I have never done
you,
this before. I'm
Texas.
saying
Wait, what
yes.
does that
That's
say?
right. It's a Classic Universe woman, okay, and I'm the delegate for Texas, so I'm still
I got
learning all about
chills
it, but
just
it's
hearing you
coming
say
up.
that.
I know, girl, I can't even believe it. And I've never done this. It's in like 42 days is
Wow.
the pageant. And this is something that I said yes to, Maria, that I said no to for a couple of years. People were, you know, asking me to be a part of the pageant, and I said no. But finally, last year, I said, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. And why am I doing it? I mean, I got enough to do, right? But really, it's another platform for me to share, you know, that it's never too late to get fit. You know, you can be strong at any age. There's no expiration date to strength. And if this is a chance for me to spread that word more, that's what I get to do. And so that is so exciting for me. And it's different, totally different from bodybuilding. It's so different. And I'm just kind of jumping in here with both feet. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's July the 12th through the 16th in Las Vegas at the Orleans Hotel, in case anybody wants to go and cheer me on, or
Yes.
women who might want to do it. Maybe next year someone wants to do a pageant. If you have some kind of a platform, some purpose that you have, this is a way to share that with others. It really is. It's a cool thing, and it's another sisterhood. It's like I have my angel sisterhood, I got my bodybuilding sisterhood, and this is another whole sisterhood. So that's right. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So
So
shout out
excited.
to
And I'm going to
Classic
be there to cheer you on.
Universe.
I'm so
Oh my
excited.
God. I forgot you said you might want to go. That makes me feel so good because I do most everything I do solo. Honestly, you know, all these trips are solo. My competitions, the angel shows, pretty much solo. I don't really have companions that travel with me, so it's just a bonus that you might want to come and just to catch up with you and get, you know, hug you and get to spend some time.
So excited.
Just
Well,
can't wait.
and I think, aside from solo travel, let's just end our time together today by just talking about doing solo things because maybe it's not
Okay.
travel. Maybe it's just taking yourself out on a date, going to your favorite restaurant or doing a competition or going, where whatever it is, but going
Hmm.
to a movie. Remember the first time I took myself to a movie theater by myself, I was like, wow, this isn't so scary, but I think we often do have a fear of being alone. What would you say
Hmm.
to the woman that's like, I'm never alone? What would you say?
Well, try something small. Do it because you're going to feel so good after. It's all about, you know, getting out of your comfort zone. It's about do it scared. Okay, go do it. What's it going to hurt? You know, I mean, I'd say go to a movie. I want to see The Devil Wears Prada too, and I haven't gotten to see it yet. And nobody I know seems to be interested, so I'm going to probably take myself to that movie soon because I want to go see it. And you know, just remember, not anybody else is really paying attention to the fact that you're by yourself anyway. People don't really care. They're so wrapped up in themselves. So I would just say, just, just put that aside and put that fear away. Do it scared and you won't regret it. And it's just life changing. I mean, at 74, I just have so many more opportunities because I haven't held myself back from doing those things because of fear.
74 years young. Renee, it's always such a pleasure to chat with you and be inspired by you. You are just a shining star, a shining light for me. I'm so blessed. And I can't wait to cheer you on the stage. And thank you for empowering other women to feel good about just, you're not alone, really. And you're certainly not
No,
lonely when you do things solo because you always have yourself. So I want to encourage you today, if you've been thinking about taking that trip or you've been thinking about going to do that thing, even if people do want to go with you, maybe you just want to go by yourself so you have a different type of experience.
absolutely. And thank you so much for having me again, Maria, because we do have such great energy. And this is such an important thing to get out to these ladies, men, whomever, that you can do lots of things by yourself. And, you have that power. It makes you feel so good whenever you do it. It's like, man, I did this, and you can do so much more. Baby steps, I think taking some baby
Yeah.
steps is what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah. Yeah. We're there. Love you, Renee.
I love you. I can't wait to see you and hug you. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Me
I
too.
mean, we'll catch up later, and I'm here for anybody and everybody who has questions. I mean, reach
Yes,
out to
let's
me.
end with that.
I try hard.
Where's the best people? Where's the best place for
Well,
people to find you?
well, I'm on Instagram, YouTube are the main ones. I am on Facebook and TikTok, but Instagram, Renee Fit at 70. The same with YouTube, Renee Fit at 70. And I mean, I try hard to respond to people. And I was just featured in this docu series on YouTube called Human. So I hope that y'all will get a chance to look at that and message me. Anybody who reaches out to me, messages me, hey, I saw you on Maria's podcast or whatever, and I'll try to reach out back to you. And I'm just here to cheer you on. I'm not really selling any big anything except encouragement, and
And
empowerment.
that is a gift indeed, waiting for you to grab. All right, my dear, we will chat soon.
Okay, sounds great. Bye.